Okay, let's start. Okay, so fine. And so far, I think what we have seen is we have seen about generic servlet, and then we saw about the HTTP servlet. Fine. HTTP specific. Fine. Earlier, what we had done was we had written the class hello servlet by implementing the servlet interface. And now we would like to also test out some of the methods on servlet context and the servlet request. Okay, and this we can do by extending from generic servlet. Okay, so let's do that. Let's create by extending from generic servlet. Okay, so let's fine. So create a class. We can have h. We need the import for we want to try out methods from servlet context and servlet request. We need the servlet response. We have java.io.have exception. And type for the output. Okay, let's see what else we'll need. Let's call this as a info servlet. And here we are using extends from. And here we need to just override the service method. That's a public void service. Yeah, we could have used base servlet, or we can use generic servlet. Generic servlet comes from the API. No, we have exactly same number of methods. Only thing is, some places we made it final. Some of the methods we have made them as final. Okay. And so generic servlet, base servlet, methods point of view it is same. Those some of the methods which we think fine should not be overwritten, we have made them final. Okay. It's more secure that way. Servlet request, servlet response, throws for IO exception. Okay. What should be done in the service method? Want to try out the methods of, let's see what all information is there in the servlet context. Okay, I think we can go for plain text output. Fine. So first thing, response dot set content, set content type text slash plain. Okay, then let's have the print writer now. Response writer. Almost every time you have to do this, right? Okay, then do a println. Okay, yeah, what do you want to print? Information from Servlet context first. Okay, so okay, total information will give, let's say, Servlet server info. Yeah, get Servlet context dot get server. Since we are going to do this get Servlet context again and again, right? Let's keep one object. Okay, so let's have Servlet context x equal to get Servlet context. Okay, yes. In the context param. So in context params. Okay. Yeah, how do we print the context params? We'll get a enumeration and we have to go over the enumeration of names. Okay, and so enumeration of string, param names equal to parameter names. Okay, and then want to get the value, we'll have to write a loop. Okay, so while param names dot has next. Has more elements, and that's enumeration. Enumeration has methods called has more elements and next element. We're simply interested in printing it. Okay, so we should get the parameter name. Param name equal to param names dot next element. And param names dot next element. That's how you'll get the parameter name, and then output println print param name plus colon keep some space plus ctx dot get init. Or and so that way we should be able to print all the parameter names. So you can just put a okay. So context parameters. What else we know from? What are the methods of servlet context? Yeah, server info, fetching the context parameters, then parameter names have come from servlet context is there. So methods, what do we get from servlet context? It's our application object. The servlet context name itself, the display name, okay, output println, servlet context name. Okay. Yes. Yeah, about the application, anything else? Servlet context name. Get servlet context name. Then there are more things. Major version, minor version. Okay, so we have version. Plus ctx dot get major version. Plus, plus ctx print version. Okay. What else? Server info done. Okay. Fine. Getting a real path for something. Output println. So we'll have real path for some string. Let's say real path for slash some path. Will not be an existing one. Okay. Let's try this. Some path slash some file dot ext. Ext is some extension, right? Let's see what's the output for this. Thus, ext dot get real path, and this, and let me use fine. So we've just said okay slash some path slash some file dot ext. And so it's just some virtual path we have, and that should be converted into a real physical path. Okay. Println. Okay. Oh, we don't want println. We need to confirm what's a return type. I think we'll open the APIs and look at servlet context, methods. Okay. Attributes is another thing we want to look at, but yeah, the idea here was about resources. You have the get real path, get resource, right? That's okay. Get resource will return a URL. Get resource as stream is for input stream, and those things can be fine. Can be done for existing path. Yeah, let's try this. Get resource paths. Okay, let's try get resource paths. Yeah, what was the return type for get resource paths? Get resource paths returns a set of strings. It's a set. Okay. Get resource paths. So fine, you can use a set. Okay. Set of string paths equal to GPX or get resource paths. That's a method. Get resource paths. String. Let's see what kind of string we are giving as parameter. Slash classes or simply webinf classes in classes, because since we have that package thing, fine, it's just going to say com. So we can have maybe webinf, right? Let's keep webinf. Okay, so directory of webinf. We are interested in directory listing. This is going to give us a directory listing. Okay, fine, and then we print them from the set for each path paths. I think before we start printing, let's print out output println. Yeah. What do we print? Okay. And then in the loop we can print the output println. I just simply printing the path. Okay. And so that's going to be the resource paths. Okay. Okay, now getting request dispatcher. Okay, that will use for, that's not something, it's for accessing, forwarding or including, right? So we'll try the forwarding thing, but not in this particular servlet, right? For that we'll use another one. Yeah, fine, we'll try, we'll see. We'll write one for forwarding. We can write a servlet for forwarding, right? Because this is the one which is giving output. So we'll have another servlet which will forward to this. Then we can have a servlet which forwards to this info servlet. Fine. First we must have the info servlet. Okay, servlet context. And let's see, any other good interesting method is there. Server info we have seen. See, the deprecated methods, fine, then them not to be used. Get servlet, which one? Servlet names? No. Yeah, you want to write into the log, that you can try. Okay, want to try logging? Okay, and then let's print all the attributes, right? We have seen, so get attributes. Fine, we have the init parameters. We have seen get context path. Yeah, even this one. Get context path. Let's print this context path. Okay, what is the context path? Okay. And this one was context path. What was the other thing? Attributes. You want to print all the attributes. Get attribute and get attribute names. Fine. That combination will have to be used. So let's put that. Okay. Attributes. Yeah. We'll get again enumeration. Attribute names. And then we have uh, okay, attribute names are there, right? So now, see, okay, let's try another thing here. One was using the method of enumeration, the way we have done earlier, and we have that we did it with the parameter names. And other option was you could have done, instead of taking it as an enumeration, because enumeration is a old API, and enumeration is a old API. Fine. Instead of this, iterator would have been better. Fine. Either we get for iterator or fine. There's a method in the collections. When we have a method in collections to convert an enumeration into one of those list type. I think enumeration can be converted into a list or something. And let's check that API. Okay. When you get an array list, method is list. When takes enumeration, returns a list. Fine. So if you want, you can convert into a list. And list being iterable, we can straight away go for a for each loop. Okay. And so here, what we could have done is we could have said, on this side we can say collections dot list. Convert my enumeration into a list. So that one's an enumeration. Now on this side, we can keep Can assign to a list of string names and then have a for each loop. For each string attribute name and attribute names. We'll need those two imports. Now I can print output and name plus colon or equal to, want to keep equal to plus ctx dot get attribute. This returns object. Remember, get attribute is returning object. Fine. So it's automatically a toString method being applied on this. Okay, ctx dot attribute. Fine. Returns object, that corresponding object. Yeah. Okay. Fine. I think let's see just first the context part itself. This will be, let's save it as a servlet. Saved. Where do we save it? And so we have the info servlet.java. Okay. And we need to compile this. Okay. How do we compile? Okay, that's the way we compiled hello servlet. Compile info servlet. Okay. The outer println and printing. Line number 20. Okay. Okay. Enumeration, there's no import for this. Okay. Should get init parameter. Okay. 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 So this compiles. Fine. And now we'll make change in the web.xml and to make it available. So here's web.xml. Fine. Like we have the servlet entry. Okay. Okay. Let me copy from servlet entry for info servlet. We don't need init param here. Okay. And load on startup. This can be number 3. Okay. Let's create a mapping now. Okay. Let's copy one mapping. And here's the mapping we'll have. This is mapping for subject info. What do we want? Slash info. Okay, let's keep this one slash info slash star. Okay. No, it will be only in the log. Oh, we didn't use the log, I think. Yeah. And we could have written to the log. Fine, let's modify. Let's write to the log also. Let's write to the log. Okay. So let's log when at the beginning, at the entry itself. Out. No, that's no out.println. Okay. You got the context here. Okay. Let's say ctx.log a message. Okay. Servlet plus, yeah, what do you want to log? Okay, just this. Okay, that will be fine. This is an entry which should go in the Servlet. Okay. And then we'll at the end again, let's keep. Okay. Servlet. Service. Okay. And we'll check the log then. See where it goes in the log. Okay. We compile this. We have updated the web.xml. I think we have updated, right? It's saved. Fine, slash info slash star. That's our URL pattern. Okay, fine. So now it's about starting the. Okay. So change directory. Contact 8 and then start the message. So you started the Tomcat server. Okay. Now we can go to the here we can find here we can check with the so http local host in this case slash one. What's your app name? Slash info slash. It could be anything. Okay, so let's try this. And here's the output. Okay, fine. You can see the output. What's so servlet context info follows. So info is saying Apache Tomcat, and so you get to know the server, which server is being used. So context parameters, look at the context parameters. So jdbc.driver.class, I think we had set this one right in web.xml. So yeah, we have this in web.xml, and you can check with the web.xml. So here's the web.xml, and recollect there was one context parameter we had set. Fine, so that's one. Fine, end of context parameter. Then display name. Fine, this again we have in the web.xml. Okay, version 3.1. Real path for slash some path extension. So this is converted to the real path, actual path wherever the Tomcat may have been installed. Clear? Yeah, it has to locate where it is, right? This has to be located. Where is our where Tomcat is? We are giving path from our application from here onwards. AJA 1602 web app. Under web app some path. This path actually should match the root of our application. Why should it show web app? It's giving us the root of the, this is giving us root of the server rather than the root of the application when we are saying real path. Okay. Okay. Fine. Yeah, because we are not getting our AJA 1602. And we have not got the AJA 1602 here. Okay, it should have been, that was the expected thing. Fine, we'll check in the API again for what it talks about the real path. Okay, let's check this. Okay. Fine. Returns a string containing the real path for a given virtual path. For example, the path slash index.html returns the absolute file path on the server's file system would be served by a request for host slash context path. It does talk about context path slash index.html, where context path is a context path of this servlet context. Okay, let's check what is the we have printed context path also. Okay, so let's check the context path. Resource paths. Fine. This is taken with our application. Fine. This is for our application. Fine. We have the lib, the classes, and the web XML. And okay, there's a backup for this is the context path. So context path is coming correctly. Okay. Fine. So this is okay. Here, web app or real. Oh, sorry. Achha, this is because we have the link. Sorry, it's because we have the link. Fine, it's coming from the link basically. This should have been actually Tomcat because we have created a link. It's actually reading the link and giving that path. So that's okay. That's correct. Huh? Okay, let me show what. Where is the link? We don't have a directory, physical directory in the web apps folder. We haven't created a directory for AJA 1602 in the web apps folder. There's no directory for web apps for AJA 1602 under web apps. It's a link. So that link path it has used. That web app, see the web app here, right? this up to this point. This web app corresponds to, this corresponds to Tomcat slash web apps slash AJAWA 1602. So it has picked up the physical path. Fine, fine, yeah. Fine, we can check this. And you can see AJAWA 1602 is nothing but home Praveen AJAWA 1602 slash web app. Fine, so it comes from here. So that's correct. That's correct. So it has, instead of this one, right? It's this. It has picked up physical path here. Instead of giving the path up to web apps slash, it here AJAWA 1602 is not the physical path. The physical path actually is this one. So that's where it has appended. Fine. So that's anyway the root of our application only. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we have. Because that's a real path we're asking for. We're asking it to convert. If I give slash some path slash some file dot extension, give me what's a physical path. Okay, fine. And resource path says okay. Fine. So everything is root of the application. That's one thing. Fine. Web INF, whatever things are there in the web INF. Listing, it's a listing. Fine. Get context path gives us path for our, what's the context in HTTP colon slash slash, what identifies your application. Okay, attributes follow. What are the attributes? So there are some attributes already in the yeah. So javax.servlet.context.tempdir, oh, it has created some tempdir for itself. Fine. So that's a tempdir. So that's an attribute which is available in the servlet context. Fine. There's another attribute org Apache Catalina. So these are some attributes which org.apache, that's something which Tomcat may be using somewhere. Fine. So that's equal to, and that's a whole thing. Okay, this whole thing. Fine. So first attribute, second attribute, there's a equal to, and then it's all this. So the value of the second attribute is all this. Okay, XML version and all this. Yeah, org.apache. Okay, it starts from, yeah, and org Apache Tomcat utils can merged web XML equal to. So this is where we have the third attribute. So there are three attributes here. And these are the three attribute names. Display name. Okay. I think all this is nothing but one attribute. The last attribute, merged web XML. When this is merged web XML, the entire web XML has come here as one of the attribute. Right? So it's showing that web XML as an attribute value. Right? Fine, that's our web XML, right? It's a merged web XML. So certain things coming from the server. So default values for timeout, session timeout. Okay, MIME mapping. Fine, these are the MIME mappings which it will use. And so all this is nothing but the entire XML file, right, is one attribute there. Okay. And yeah. Okay. Okay. Fine, it goes here. Fine, there are a few others. So that was one attribute. That's another attribute, another. And so these are class path equal to. Fine. So class path value. And then what's the other output we had? We had some other output also, right? What were the other things we are trying to print? After attribute names, we haven't printed anything after attributes. Okay. Okay. But then we did something like log. Okay. So let's check with the log. Okay. So to check the log, yeah, where would be the log? So let's open the log here. Fine, it's under Tomcat. Logs. Okay, today's log. Fine, which is today's log? That's 15th, right? Okay. So there's some exception which is happening. Okay. Okay, let's ignore all that. Somewhere, oh, no, that's not ours. And in the log, it has said, okay, that the startup has completed. Somewhere it was mentioning. Okay. The log is big because I think we installed something like Jenkins. Yes. Okay, I think what we can do is we can search for, it's not in this log. There is one Catalina.out. Okay. And we can check here. It's too large. File is too large, I think. Okay, let me use grep, I think. Fine, I'll use a grep. Let's go for this. CD logs. Okay. Grep. And that's, I think that's a string we had, right? Okay, Servlet. There's a local host log also, right? There's Catalina and there's one local host log. I think we can check the local host log, not the Catalina.out. But it wasn't found in Catalina 2016. Let's check the local host. So that's gone. It should be, I think, there in the localhost log. It's not there. Okay. Let's check what we exactly logged at. What have we put in the log? Okay, this one we can remove. Let's close this one. We can open the localhost today's log. That's host manager, localhost. This one. Okay, I think there are so many other things in that. There's other applications, fine, which are making a lot of entries in the log and may not have been flushed basically. The log may not have been flushed. That's one reason. Info space servlet was there, right? Let's do one more thing. Let's call it one more time. We'll call it one more time. So yeah. Okay, it's not getting affected, right? They're not being updated. Okay, I think we should get the things in this log. One of these two it should have. Yeah, localhost. Mostly it goes in the localhost, I think. Okay, we can try closing the server or stopping the app. age 1602 is there. Then let's stop the application. See, when we stop, it would flush the buffers, okay? Yeah, it has been able to stop this. It's not flushing here. Nothing is flushing here. Okay, let's stop Tomcat. And now buffer should have been flushed. Yeah, that says reload. Okay, now you should have. Let's go with this. Okay, just a minute. Let's check something else has been some other file probably. And which are the files today? And Catalina out. No, that we don't want to touch. Host managers events. Local host. And that's the one we have checked, right? And local access log. That's just access. There's a manager. This is from manager basically. I don't think this will have. And when we stopped, yeah, so that's a manager's log basically. But our application log, it has to be. No. Oh, 1 second. Okay, this we haven't seen, I think. No. We'll need to check where the log goes. Okay. Now, fine. The idea is yes, this code you can, and you can further add methods from servlet request. And add methods for checking the servlet request. Yeah. Fine. Continue tomorrow. Yeah, that's correct. Context.log.